The Redhill Arts Festival is set to light up Sandton from the 13th to the 16th of June this year at Redhill School, bringing together theatre, music, market stalls, family fun, and of course, unapologetically bold comedy. One of the standout events is the Reddest Comedy Show, happening on Sunday, that is the 15th of June, from 7 p.m. until around 8:45 at the Len Miller Theatre. Just a heads up though, it is rated PG-16, so definitely not for young ears. I'm joined, however, by two of the festival's comedy heavyweights. That's Richelieu Beaunoir as well as Chris Forrest. To both of you, thank you so much for the time. Chris joining us out in the forest there, I think literally decided to stick to his name. Chris, for a moment, I thought you were actually running the Comrades. Where are you exactly right now? Which forest are you in, Chris Forrest?
Would you believe I'm in the Kruger National Park as we speak? I was going to run the Comrades, but then I remembered that I'm overweight and unfit, so I didn't. But the Kruger is also nice. I've had to run from a lion or two, but other than that, I'm fine.
Okay, so 90 kilometers odd running away from a lion then, presumably. Guys, let's just talk about this then. What exactly does this comedy festival entail? Why this one especially then, Richelieu? Why here? And what is it you're hoping to achieve through this one?
Well, we want to show everybody in South Africa and the comedy world that we, besides being funny comedians, we're also good fathers. So we'll spend our day with other people's children.
You already have your own children to deal with. Now you're going to spend the day with other people's children.
Yeah, I mean, spread the love. So, you know, so like let everybody get a chance to experience us. Because like on that lineup, we all are fathers. So it's myself, so it's Chris Forrest, Nicholas Kalide, and David Cow.
Okay.
All of us, yeah, so he's taking time away. So we're just showing South Africa that you can give back to the community and be a good father at the same time and be funny. So it's a bunch of stuff.
Chris, is that true?
Yeah.
You can also be funny?
I try to be funny. Yes. But I go with what Richelieu says. I'm super excited to be Father's Day at Redhill. I don't know. We're hoping for some Father's Day gifts besides people coming to buy tickets.
Would attendance not count as a gift in itself?
I suppose that would count as a gift. Attendance is great. That's first prize. If you bring me a pair of socks, that's even more amazing. If you bring me a coffee mug that you made in art, that's then I'm over the moon.
Yeah, I mean it might break at the show itself, so that might be a bit worrisome. What are you hoping this showcases? What are you hoping this gives out? Because indeed, like I said, Father's Day indeed, but certainly the messaging could also be significant here.
I think the real messaging is come through and have a laugh. That's really,
that's really basic.
Come and buy tickets because as a good father, I really like to pay school fees this month.
Good.
So come through and buy a ticket so I can do that. That's my main thing. That's
the importance of how does the crowd give you feedback on events like these as well? Because you said you're trying to showcase that you can be fathers, you can be people who are trying to live up to family standards, but at the same time look after your families and be funny.
Yes.
How do you get that feedback as well within the crowd and people?
Well, the thing is with comedy in general, the crowd is only there that day. So like the feedback it won't spread to your next show or the following show. Or it's just specific people on specific days. So the feedback is immediate with all types of comedy. If you're funny, you stay. If you're not,
but then how do you know something's going to work? Because
that's the thing. So the most
go ahead, Chris.
Most of the feedback that I'm looking for is laughter.
Yeah,
so people are laughing. That's the best feedback ever.
It's the only feedback.
I can get it immediately, and the crowd is very important to a comedy show because otherwise it's just you telling jokes to a wall.
How do you know it's not a pity laugh?
No, you do.
No, because you know when it's a pity laugh. You do. It's like I'm going to compare it to other sort of activities you do without saying what they are. You know when they're faking it.
Like me, I'm faking it right now.
I'll still pretend. I won't be like, hey man, you guys are faking
Chris,
it. That's a
the show is PG-16. That's your comedy show is PG-16. The channel, however, is for all ages, so we need to...
Yeah.
I didn't mention what you thought. You thought it.
I don't know what you were talking about either. I was just saying. I was just letting people know
But we can tell when you're faking it. It's like when it's like listening to a radio DJ. He's always laughing. It's like, it's not that jolly.
Yeah, exactly.
At 7 o'clock in the morning. Hey, good morning. Hey, good morning. I'm like, nah. I guess it's the same feedback with comedy. It's how they see you, and in how, like you're saying, it's immediate feedback. It's not like a restaurant where they taste your meal, then they go home and they write it.
True.
It's immediate. Some of them
Richard,
will
what is
leave.
comedy like, though, in South Africa now? And I say this because we've just had, what was it, the Laugh Out Loud Fest?
Oh, yes, the Laugh Africa Festival.
Laugh Africa Festival not so long ago as well. There are comedy festivals that certainly, or even, and these happen. And then you have YouTubers that perhaps become a little bit funny as well in certain instances too, and they put out their own podcast and the like. Has comedy grown significantly in South Africa? Or is it still the same sort of niche environment that it used to be?
I do feel that it's going through like a rebirth at the moment, like you're saying, because social media and like you get these guys that are doing things on there, but they can't. Stand-up comedy and that are two different things. So at the same time, with these people, I guess, some of them leave the online space and they jump onto stage, and then they quickly learn that there's another learning curve that you need to also adjust to. So with that, I think that there is some type of a blending. But I think as a community, though, comedy is growing throughout the country in pockets. So Cape Town is doing its thing. Johannesburg is, I think, also going through a whole lot of revision because of, like, the original old comics are no longer performing. So there's, like, the new wave or trying to figure themselves out. It's puberty for comedy.
Some of the original old comics are still performing.
Just Chris is...
Only Chris.
But they're not running.
Who are we saying? Chris and David Cow. That's it, right? Those are the only ones. But that means that there's sufficient growth, though. And I mean, as you said, it goes through stages, goes through time frames, and this is one of those as well. Yes.
So you find that, like, Cape Town is growing quite rapidly because their learning curve has been for a longer time or longer period. Then, like, there's Durban, there's a lot of provinces where there's no comedy at all that we don't know of, or should I say, we're not invited to visit there. But I think in general, though, comedy is in good hands, and it's going to, I think, grow to the point where we're doing things like this, doing festivals like this, because we don't only want to play in bars and corner cafes. You want to do theatres, you want to travel to different continents and that type of thing, which is happening for a good chunk of comedians in the country. So I think we're positive at the moment. We're growing.
That's interesting. Chris, how do you deal with what is now termed as woke society? Because some jokes which may have been funny 10 years ago, maybe not so much today.
And I keep telling some of the comics they need to change their material from 10 years ago. No, they're still kind of funny, but thanks, Richie. I think for some of us, we've always been aware of these things. Like, everyone uses this woke word, like, in a big way. And I don't like the word because it's a really annoying word. But I think just as long as you're not offending anyone and you're cognizant of what can be offensive to people.
Wait a second. Did you say as long as you're not offending anyone?
Well, I mean, put it this way. Yeah, as long as you're not offending anyone. And I use the word cognizant, which is very impressive because I went to technical school. So that's like a 3-syllable at least word. No, I mean, like when I started, and this is a long time ago, it was in the 90s.
Horse and carriage still, right?
Well, I mean, you could do homophobic stuff and it was fine. You could do stuff that was, like, degrading to females and it was fine. And it's, I don't think a lot of people... I mean, I remember going to a corporate show where there was a woman who was, it was the board of one of the big banks. And she'd obviously, like, fought through a very male-dominated world to be there. And the MC, I won't mention his name, he said, "Hey, blonde lady, what's your name? Any idea?" And like that, you can't do that anymore. And I mean, that woman would have hated him that day.
Oh, man. So it's a changing environment that you have to keep.
Yeah, I guess so. But like Chris is saying, the woke thing also, there's a lot of people who are just witch hunting to be offended.
Yes.
Like, you could just, I'm choosing to be offended today because I feel a certain way about a certain word or a certain scenario. Which kind of makes it interesting to perform in a live environment because people just become woke sometimes.
Yeah, like, especially the younger guys. recall doing a show for kind of students where I spoke about my wife. And because comedy is all about truth.
Yeah.
And I heard a voice from the crowd going, who is he to talk about his wife? And I was like,
you might be the most perfect person to do that, actually.
I think the problem comes in is actually there are people, what Richelieu was talking about, it, they woke for the sake of being woke, and they're not actually sure why, and they just do it because they've been told. That I would say is a problem. But at the same time, the audience is people who are paying to see you. So it's not like when you've got to adapt to them. It's, you can't take your car to the mechanic and say, listen, there's a problem with the carburetor, and then he changes your shock absorbers and says, what's your problem?
Yeah.
I'm a mechanic.
Yeah.
You've got to also do what the audience wants, because our job at the end of the day is to make people laugh.
Yeah, and that means understanding your environment, understanding the scenario. Do the jokes still write themselves in the country? I mean, we used to be able to just look at the political world, and that would write all the jokes for you in many ways. Is that still the case?
But it clearly is, but I mean, it's a cheat code as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure when people are looking at TV now, they think I'm about to question you about the spending of the sports in South Africa, because that's what we're doing as a nation. But I think it's a cheat code. So, like, I don't remember ever Chris doing like political humor, or because it's, for me, it's like, okay, it writes itself. I mean, we all see it, but then it's funny when somebody says it, because it's articulated in a way that makes it funnier. But then I'm going to say, then tomorrow Chris is going to do a similar thing. And then, so like, then we're all going to become this one family of talking about politics or talking about whatever, because we normally choose a person or we choose a culture or whatever.
Yes,
so
yes.
I personally stray away from that, because I like to be unique in my thoughts. I think Chris is the same. We work on doing like comedy that we learned comedy. I've also, I'm as old as Chris is as well. I've been doing comedy long enough to know.
Figures of comedy, as it were, right?
When I hand it over to our kids, we want to be proud of what we hand over to our kids.
So would you let your kids do comedy, guys?
Personally, I mean, my son is 8 years old, so whenever they have like a show and tell or a speech, I always give him like a great bit and like perform. Go use that. Yeah, get the feedback.
me and my daughter are co-hosting a show at her school coming up soon. Oh, so that'll be her first gig.
Oh, that's great. That sounds like great fun. Might attend that one
I'm
too.
coming to heckle that.
That's going to be an interesting one.
I'm going to teach her all the anti-heckles just for Richelieu.
Yeah, exactly, just for Richelieu.
The rest of the parents are going to be shocked, but it'll be like,